Good morning. Good morning. Come on in. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. Comment and let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm just going to wait for Instagram. Good morning, Instagram. I don't know. Instagram has been acting funny the last few days. It always rejects my live and then it starts. But good morning, everyone. Come on in, tune in, tune in. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If this is your first time, definitely comment. Let me know where you're tuning in from. How's everyone doing? Happy Wednesday. Good morning, Natty Bando. Good morning, Fair and 5150. Samoya, good morning. Good morning, Snow Cone. Nessa Lady, first timer. Hey, what's up? GT from Atlanta, good morning. Gerda from Texas, what's up? Oyinda, New Jersey, what up? What up? 2Ds from Virginia, Queens, Florida, first timer, Christina. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Let me introduce myself. My name is Aisha Chidole, and I'm an immigration lawyer. I represent clients all over the United States with their immigration matters. Our phone number here is 407-995-6567. You can also send a WhatsApp to 404-333-8751. The quickest way to get in touch with us is, of course, to call during office hours. We can't call you on WhatsApp. So you can send a message or leave your number there if you want us to call you back. Keep in mind, I know sometimes people say, I sent a WhatsApp message and I haven't gotten a call back. We get hundreds of WhatsApp messages. So sometimes it can take a while, to go through all of them. So it's always better to call. Bonjour, vous parlez français? I don't speak French. I do understand a little bit because I studied French in high school and elementary school, but very terrible still. Okay, Snowcone says she has a question. Go ahead and ask your question. Hi, Davis. Good morning. Says, God bless you for your commitment to immigrant community. Thank you so much. Guys, I talked about this yesterday and I'm talking about it again. USCIS fees are going up. USCIS fees are going up most likely by April. It could be earlier, but they're anticipating about 90 days. So March, April is what they're looking at. So if you're someone who has been kind of waiting, this is a good time. Your application doesn't have to be perfect when you submit it. You can always amend your application. Okay. If you're filing on the basis of marriage, you can always start with what you have and understand that your application is kind of like a working application, meaning that as you acquire things, you can always bring it with you to the interview. Or if they request for additional evidence, you can always submit those things. So, you definitely do not want to tarry or waste your time. You definitely want to submit it as soon as you can. Okay. The person was asking, what did you say about fees? USCIS filing fees are going up, and for some of them, it's significant. The most significant is for those of you who have 2-year conditional green cards. When you're filing for removal of conditions, the fees used to be $680, but I don't have the exact number, but I think it went up almost $600. So those are some things to definitely take into consideration. Bertie Jr. says, I want to apply for dual citizenship. I don't know about dual citizenship or what country you're from, but here in the United States, you can apply for citizenship if you're eligible, and the U.S. doesn't stop people from having citizenship in other countries. So what you want to check is, what country are you from, and does that country allow dual citizenship? For instance, Germany is an example. Um, and like Germany is a country that doesn't allow dual citizenship, or at least as of 3 years ago. I don't know what it is today. I remember we had the one client that had to decide what they wanted to do. But here in the US, you can apply. The only thing that they look at and ask you to basically, abdicate or let go is if you have like a hereditary title, like, if you're a prince, that you inherit, a king or whatever, those you would have to give up, to apply for citizenship to the United States. Okay. Can you please tell us an update for DACA? Ivu, there's no update for DACA right now. They're still not processing new DACA cases. And I suspect that we're not going to see anything related to DACA right now until the new administration comes in after the election this year, assuming it's the old, this current administration stays or the new one is somebody else. Okay. What are your thoughts on flying state to state undocumented? My thoughts are don't do it. Can your spouse annul a marriage of 5 years? So I'm just going to touch on this lightly just because I'm touching on it not in my capacity as an immigration lawyer, but in my capacity as an attorney general and just the understanding of the basic annulment requirements. So typically, annulments happen for different reasons, and every single state is different. So you want to consult with a lawyer within your state to understand whether or not this annulment can happen. And for a lot of states, I'm licensed in 3 states, and I can only speak for those states. Generally, they're looking at certain things like, was there fraud in the inducement? Like, was it a marriage that was entered into through fraud or duress, mental incapacity, lack of consummation of the marriage? And I don't remember the last thing. So those are the types of things that they're looking at. 5 years is a long time to try to annul because, what happened in year 1, year 2. So I suspect that a judge will have a hard time granting that without solid evidence and will probably just grant a divorce. But again, you can find out from a lawyer in your state to determine whether or not this person has a chance of annulling or not annulling. Can over 21-year-old unmarried child adjust a father is filing a green card? So Cutie, the answer to this is going to really depend on what the status of the over 21-year-old unmarried child is. So if the 21-year-old unmarried child is married to a U.S. citizen, is the stepchild of a U.S. citizen, right? And that over 21-year-old, at the time they find the I-1, well, actually, no, they can't. Never mind. They can't because my assumption is that there's no I-130 filed, right? Or if there was an I-130 filed, this is actually a very complicated question. So let me try and answer it in 2 parts. So if you're over 21, there are 2 scenarios that we have to look at, right? When your father, the U.S. citizen father filed, was a person under 21 or were they over 21? If they're over 21, the odds of adjusting is very unlikely because you have to be in status and wait for visas to be available. And when the visas are available, which can take 5 to 8 years, you have to make sure that throughout that time that you're in status. If you're not in status, you must consular process. If the child was under 21, it wouldn't make sense why they didn't do the adjustment of status right away, But let's just say they made a mistake and they didn't do the adjustment. Then we have to calculate their CSPA age to determine when they're eligible to file. And at the time they're eligible, if their age is over 21, are they in status? So it's actually quite complex, like anyone that's over 21, you should really not be trying to do the stuff for yourself. You need to speak with a lawyer. Like this requires certain math calculations and rule calculations. So that's the answer, which as you can see is not a simple answer. We have a pending case, which we filed from Wisconsin, June 30th, 2022. Can my wife file for her citizenship while we have a pending I-130? If your wife is eligible to apply for citizenship, absolutely, she can apply for citizenship whether your I-130 is pending or not. And if she does get approved for her citizenship, you can actually convert your application that's pending from a spouse of an LPR, which is a green card holder, to the spouse of a U.S. citizen, which will put you as an immediate relative and, kind of fast track your case and allow you to adjust your status. Okay. I'm currently filing for divorce from my ex-wife. I'm currently filing for divorce. My ex-wife seized my daughter's social security card and her Nigerian passport. I'm not sure if there's a continuation to the question, but that's something that you might want to look into with law enforcement. Have your divorce attorney have a judge settle for you guys. How quickly after you're married can you submit your papers? There's no timeline. As soon as you're ready and you have something to give immigration. How long for a green card application based on marriage adjustment of status? The average case is going to take anywhere from 12 to 14 months. We're definitely seeing some cases being approved from 4 to 7 months. It's not the norm, but we're definitely seeing it happen. So I would say, out of 10 cases we do, 2 of them are going to look like that. So 20% of cases will be approved very quickly and without an interview. Let me correct myself. 20% of cases will be approved very quickly without an interview. However, there are other cases that are still being approved without an interview. Is just not going to be as quick because we're definitely seeing a lot of cases approved. I would say 60% of cases right now that we submit, or maybe even 70% of our marriage-based cases are being approved without interviews. One of the tricks to that is, you want to make sure that you're submitting a really strong packet from the onset and giving them everything that they need to make a decision. And it does help if it's your first application to USCIS. Kool-Aid, oh yeah, says, how do I dispose of a body properly? You're definitely on the wrong YouTube. I know you're trying to be funny, but I can't help you with that. Mm-hmm. I'm in Florida. I just got my I-131. Do I have to do a medical before I get the green card? And how long do you think I would wait? Angie on YouTube, I need more context. An I-131 is a travel permit, so it doesn't have anything to do with your medical or your green card. I'm going to need to know what kind of case did you file? When did you file your case? Have they requested additional evidence? Did you submit a medical before? So I need a little bit more, okay? Denise is asking, how long does a divorce take? I'm not a divorce lawyer. I'm an immigration lawyer, so I can't answer. Divorce is state law. So this is one of those where you definitely want to reach out to a lawyer in your state to let you know what a realistic timeline is. And the timeline also changes depending on whether you have a contested divorce or an uncontested divorce. I filed a one-step VAWA. I have an underage daughter and included her in the application, but she has a final removal order. Does she need a waiver? She's going to need more than that. Once your VAWA is approved, one of the things would be to look at if she's eligible for what we call prosecutorial discretion. And with prosecutorial discretion, it can allow immigration judge to reopen the case and file a joint motion to either terminate the removal order, or whatnot. But we'll need a little bit more to be able to counsel on that. We're not physically in Texas, but we represent clients in Texas. We actually have quite a strong base of clients in Texas. Immigration is federal law, so we take cases in every 50 state. So if you need assistance, call me 407-995-6567. I'll be happy to help you. After receiving 4 prima facie letters, does USCIS still review before they issue another PFD? No. So once you get your first prima facie determination letter, they will just come automatically to you. So really what they're reviewing for now is for a decision. Are they approving your case or are they not approving your case? And I've talked about this before. While a prima facie determination letter is good, and I think it's positive because it's, promising. A prima facie determination letter does not guarantee an approval of your valid case. Okay? If I get denied from immigration, how would I still be able to get my papers? We're still married, but going through stuff. Nika, call my office. I can screen you and see what else you might be eligible for. 407-995-6567. Okay. If there's some abuse going on in your marriage, you might be eligible for that. But also something that's really important is to know why you were denied, because we don't just want to band-aid that. We want to fix the problem so that the problem doesn't arise again. What if you're not on your husband's health insurance? Would that be a red flag, but you have life insurance together? No, that's not going to be a red flag. However, they definitely want to see that you guys have other things together. So as long as there are other things you have together, that's fine. I mean, health insurance is really expensive. So it's kind of like an unrealistic expectation to expect everyone to be on their spouse's insurance plan. People that are not filing for immigration, sometimes they make a decision. You do the insurance through your company. I do it through my company because it's cheaper. So that's not something that I'll worry at all, as long as you have other proof that your marriage is legit. Kaya says, hello, what's going on with DACA? What else can I be qualified for? I just answered this question, so watch this video again. I answered the question on DACA. My husband petitioned for my son. It's been 2 years and still says he's actively reviewing. What kind of petition did he do? Was it an adjustment of status, or was it a consular processing petition? And then, is your husband a U.S. citizen or a green card holder? That would help me answer the question better. If I don't get a renewal of my prima facie determination letter for over 7 months, what should she do? You can ask USCIS to send it, that you've not received it. Can they please send it? As long as you got the initial one that was for 365 days. Nika says, they be looking at everything, even if they say it's not a big problem, but I personally feel it plays a part. I'm not sure which question are you referring to, but let me be very clear. When it comes to immigration wants any credible evidence that supports what it is that you're submitting. The standards are what we call a preponderance of the evidence, which basically shows that 51% likelihood that what you're saying is true and the documents that you have are true. This is not like, a criminal case where it has to be beyond a reasonable doubt. So the standards of review are very different. So I don't ever want anyone of my clients or those of you who come to watch me online to think that because you don't have one document, you're going to be denied. And so that's the reason why you don't submit your application. I also am someone who operates from a place of positivity, light, and energy. And I believe that when you believe that something good is going to happen, that thing will happen. So never go into an application that is so important to your life believing that because I don't have this one thing, I'm going to get denied. Because if you believe, they say you attract what you feel. So if you believe that, that's what's going to happen. Like, my clients will tell you on here, if they come to me with bad energy, oh my gosh, what if I get denied? I tell them, I'm not entertaining that thought. You're not getting denied. So I don't want to talk about that. For right now, let's focus on you getting approved. So you always want to bring that energy to it. Okay. I filed for my wife, and the I-130 case has been pending since June 2022. Can I apply for citizenship? I just qualify for the application, and what impact will that have? I also just answered this question, and I think it was you that asked the question. The answer is the same. You can apply for citizenship if you qualify. It doesn't impact your wife in any way. Instead, what it does is if you get citizenship and the case is pending, she will be able to convert her application and adjust her status, and it will be quicker. Okay. Right now, the visa bulletins for an LPR filing for their spouse has moved from where it used to be current to like a 5-year, 6-year wait. So that probably is why your wife's case is still pending, because they usually will approve it closer to when a visa is available for her. So definitely apply for citizenship right now, since you have reached a timeline, and if you're eligible to do it, so you can convert hers, and then she can also adjust her status. Okay, let's see. My sister overstayed her visitor's visa for over 30 hours. Did you mean 30 years? I'm not sure if that's what you meant. But now I'm finally married to a US citizen. She's scared to file. What can she do? She can file as long as she's eligible. Buki, hello and good morning. Can I file an I-130 on my own without any help? I'm not really sure I understand your question. Are you saying with without a spouse, without a parent, without a child sponsoring you? Is that what you're asking? Bookie says, can my husband take a travel while his papers are in process? Not without, not by flight, and not without a travel permit. So if your spouse wants to travel, he can travel by road, and preferably not him being the driver, only as a passenger. If not, wait for your travel permit. Okay. Joe Houston says positivity is a winning spirit, and I like what you just said. You are who you think, and we must all think right, even before we take the first step. In God we trust. Amen. That's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Aladdin says, my husband is a U.S. citizen and my son is out of the country. Okay, let me go back to yours. So you said, I know this is like a follow-up question. My husband petitioned for my son. It's been 2 years and still staying actively reviewing. So 2 years for the I-130, I consider that to be a really long time. What I'm curious to know is, did you get any RFEs in the during the process? If not, definitely reach out to USCIS to see what's causing the delay of the I-130, because I would consider 2 years to be a really long time if your spouse is a US citizen. Okay. If I have a payment plan with IRS, can I file my N-400? As long as you didn't just start the payment plan because you want to file your N-400. If you can show that you've historically had that payment plan and you've been paying it, it's fine. But if you submit your N-400 and then at the same time you set up a payment plan for like something that you should have set up a payment plan for before, that's usually when it would be a problem. I have an expired I-75 extension letter. I mean, I think you're trying to say I-751, right? I have an expired I-751 extension letter. What is my next step? If you have an expired one, you can always schedule what we call an info pass. You can go on USCIS.gov, schedule an info pass, and then request for an added stamp. So what happens is you take your expired extension letter along with your passport, and once they check in the system and see that your case is still pending, they will put a stamp for a 1-year extension of your green card on there for you, which will continue like your green card until they make a decision. Okay. While still waiting on my I-751, I have a U.S. fiance. Is it okay to go ahead to remarry while still waiting on my I-751? I'm completely divorced from my ex-wife who assaulted me. You should be fine to marry as long as your I-751 reflects that you're divorced, or I'm not sure what the basis of what you filed it for, but it should reflect that you're divorced, or it should be amended to say that you're divorced. And just to know, this is very different for VAWA cases. So this person here has an I-751 and he's divorced now from that spouse, and that spouse assaulted him, which I'm going to take as abuse. In an I-751 case where it's okay to remarry while your case is pending, and a VAWA I-360 case, you cannot remarry while your case is pending. Let me state that very clearly, because it's very painful, for us to put in all this work, and like we call a client, or like a week before a client gets approved, the client calls and says, "Oh, I got married," because this has happened. I'm giving you a firsthand experience of something that happened, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, why did you get married?" So that's that. Okay. Caddy says, "What's the time frame for an IA-2 for kids in Jamaica?" Probably like about 12 months, 8 to 12 months. Oh my goodness, I can't take any other questions. I got to jump off. Sorry if I didn't get to your question. I'll be on live next week, so you can ask me your questions then. Okay. And for you, Favor Carrie, I'll send you a message. Okay. All right, guys, have a good day. Bye.